My this bitch is all of these layers that I have to wear. Everything's tight, and then I have to put so many layers. This bitch.
Yes. This bitch is the layers, I guess.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bitch Talk. I'm your host, Erin.
And I'm co-host Ange, a.k.a. Captain Party.
2026 brings us into our 13th year of podcasting, and we're proud to be here. Thank you to our followers and longtime listeners for voting us Best of the Bay Best Podcast for 3 years in a row, and to SF Film for adding us to the respected list of essential SF winners.
If this is your first time listening, where the hell have you been? But better late than never. We're like if the rap group Salt and Peppa met the show Grace and Frankie and had a baby. And if you don't understand what that means, ask Jeeves. And now, on with the show. Clink! Welcome to Sundance 2026. Thank you to our festival sponsor, Standard Deviant Brewing. In this episode, we're going to talk to you about 3 separate short films, Crisis Actor, Taga, and Prime. All right, bitch talkers, we are now switching in this segment to our short film program. We're talking about Crisis Actor, and we're sitting down with our writer, director, and producer, Lily Platt, and our actor, Sarah Steele. Welcome to Bitch Talk.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Lily, we're going to start with you. Can you introduce our audience to your short film?
Absolutely. Crisis Actor is a short about a reckless actress who is addicted to drama, and her insatiable urge to perform gets her into a lot of trouble. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I'll start with Lily, and then if Sarah wants to jump in on this question too, that's great. But you really captured what it looks like for someone to be spitting out. Can you talk about that process in writing it and capturing it, but also playing this person who's having a time? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the kind of genesis of it, I really liked, I made a film about a woman who lies about a pregnancy and planned abortion in my first year of grad school to try to manipulate her ex-boyfriend, and was kind of coming out of a 5-year relationship and like the idea of, the logical conclusion of some of the most nefarious impulses you have when you're in a state of total
There's
crash
a theme
out.
here. Yeah.
Yes. And, I would never do those things, but they've crossed my mind,
Yes, as all of us.
Yeah, totally. And so there's something really cathartic to me, and there's a lot of comedy in seeing those impulses play out. And something that I think Sarah really brought to the role was a sense of playfulness. Like, I really we talked a lot about how she was someone who, there's a reading of her that's very desperate, but I think there's also a reading of her that's incredibly strategic, willful, playful, but I'll let Sarah speak to that a bit.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, I don't know if this speaks to like my own chaotic nature or if this is just an actor thing. I don't think anything she does is that crazy.
Right.
But I'm sure
we need to unpack things.
I'll be emailing you, tell you to take that out. No, I don't know. Like, I think because I was embodying it, I really saw it through the lens of like her boyfriend's left her. She gets fired, and I see what she does as a kind of like survivalist. Like, how can I make myself feel better right now? We all do have those moments, and I actually admire about Celine that she is bold in her quest to just get herself through this time.
Totally. And we also talked a lot about how she is driven as much by this intense need to perform and practice the craft of acting as much as she is by, it's not mutually exclusive, but like this need for attention or this desire to connect with people, it's both things. I think there's a reading of the character that's like, well, she's just throwing herself at people. And it's like, well, yes, but she's also trying to perform. Mm-hmm. And she wants to, every room is a potential kind of audience and stage.
Yeah.
And that to me, I think was kind of more important and started to outweigh the reading of it that was lonely or something.
Yeah, and I guess like as an actor, you can't think about it that way. You have to think about it like, this makes sense.
Right. Totally. Right. You don't want to be judgmental.
Yeah,
of
right.
that
Exactly.
impulse.
That's a good way.
It's
to say
the reality.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
right or wrong.
Right.
I took it as we all are a little bit crisis actors. We all have that one friend who's addicted to drama, and mine personally is not an actor.
Right.
We all have a little bit of that in us. So I found her to be very relatable too.
Oh.
Well, in certain way, I mean, look, I can't do it today. No, I don't know, just trying to brush things off, trying to act like everything's okay, trying to fit in. So let's go to an AA meeting. Me too. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive.
And haven't we all sometimes lied to make ourselves look better?
Yeah,
Which
or
is also
had a little
what she
fun
does.
just to get a little hookup, maybe. Like,
Yeah,
me too.
exactly.
Yeah, you're cute.
Right. And I also see like her, the way she thieves and lie. It's like, I don't think for her it feels so nefarious. It's just like, well, this is what I need to do to get what I want, and it's extreme and it kind of defies social mores, but it's, to her, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think sometimes it could make sense to me too. The impulse to do those things. You're like, well, why do I have to pay for this stupid dress? Like, I should just steal it, that you order, like it's really like the $400 slip dress. That's like
That actually made me the most mad.
Yeah.
Out of the whole story. I don't know. I'm like, this bitch is really I know. I don't know what it is about that.
just
but-
because
beautiful
it's so
color.
kind of entitled. Do you mean like
Yep.
that part of it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Because she's like
Yeah.
in this beautiful apartment and she's like stealing stuff.
Yeah, and
that's
lying
true.
to the person on the other end. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just
It's
yeah.
like a bit exploitative.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I need to go to therapy about that. Go ahead.
I need to go to therapy. Clearly,
You're like, oh,
she's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Well, and I just said I relate to it, but I think in the
Yeah.
in the sense of how you were saying, Lily, like it's things that we think about doing.
Right.
Doesn't mean we always do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's definitely thought about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just be. Anyways.
Well, I also
Makes
think
me-
for me, it comes from a place, I think, of criticism a little bit about these women in the zeitgeist who, despite coming from a place of privilege, really try to milk their victimhood and their kind of their gender,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I think there's so much humor in that, and I'm really interested in that.
There's a conversation too about getting caught up in your own bullshit in this film, which I really love because we all do it. I do it a lot and have to remind myself like there's other things going on in the world. So can you talk about that lens as well and that kind of storytelling?
Yeah, I think she's someone who is a really obsessive thinker, and I can really relate to that kind of fixation. And I don't think it's possible to be an artist to some extent without having that kind of obsessive thinking or fixation on something, because it's quite an undertaking in a lot of ways. But I did want her to be someone, kind of speaking to the thing of like being interested in someone who milks their own victimhood. Like I did want her to be someone who felt like she lived in she was pretty isolated from the larger world. Like I didn't want the film to touch on anything that was bigger than that, if that makes sense. Like I wanted to feel like really intimate, and like a very intimate character study of her, kind of her world and her point of view. I don't know if that makes sense.
But then I'm not going to ruin anything, but she gets snapped out of it.
Yes,
And that's
totally.
you're like, yeah.
Right, totally. And that was important for that kind of moment of reckoning
The
to
light bulb
feel
moment.
real. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know how the people in that hospital room scene were keeping a straight face. I was just like, that was so funny, Sarah. Thank you. It was a good laugh. Okay, so unfortunately we have to wrap, but we end all of our segments with something we call This Bitch. So we ask our guests to name what your this bitch is of the moment. You can either throw shine or throw shade on somebody, something that's bringing you joy
A color,
or pissing
a
you
thing,
off.
weather, whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm sure everyone is saying this recently, but I've been shooting something in Toronto, and I really feel like Rosalia's album has gotten me through just like being cold and lonely in Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So this bitch is
Rosalia.
All right.
For me.
Okay.
Great.
I'm going to have to say that this bitch is Sarah.
Yay. Yes.
Because, you know, Sarah didn't have to do my movie, and I got so lucky that I got to work with such an experienced actor who brought so much to the movie, and it's so fun to be able to share the movie with Sundance audiences with Sarah, and I just don't take that for granted. It means a lot to me.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I should have gone
Start
second.
crying. Cue the tears. That was really sweet. Thank you so much. Again, we've been speaking with writer, director / producer Lily Platt and actor Sarah Steele of the short film Crisis Actor. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, bitch talkers. In this segment, we're going to be talking about the short film Taga we have 2 participants from the film. Can you please introduce yourself and your role on the film? We'll start with our director.
Hi, my name is Jill Sachs. I was the writer and director and a producer on Taga.
Hi, I'm Luis Barreto, and I'm one of the producers of Taga.
Okay, so Jill, can you introduce the short film to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So Taga is a short horror monster movie about travel, belonging, and intrusion. It follows a Filipino American named Vivi who returns to the motherland to try to reconnect with her heritage, but instead ends up with a bunch of foreign eco-volunteers who offend the locals and awaken a monster.
There's a lot of themes in a very short amount of time in this film. So can you talk about, there's white savior storyline, there's the white woman tears, but like who's the monster really in this short film? So can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, there are a lot of themes that I was trying to fit in for just a 18 or 19-minute short. The white volunteers are something I've been trying to tell a story about for a long time, based on people that I encountered while backpacking across the world, especially when you get off the beaten track, and especially in third world countries. You do meet a lot of people who, although they'd be considered woke, I suppose, or they would consider themselves that, over time they create, I don't know, a kind of negative feeling towards the locals based on they tended to blame the locals for everything that went wrong with them personally. And I know it's like traveler fatigue and it's a lot of things going on with them, but it seemed like the more people were there to try to help, the more they were trying to change things and impart their own, what they saw as wisdom. And I just wanted to tell something about how that's so neo-colonial. And I wanted to set it in the Philippines. I'm Filipino, I'm half Filipino. And I just wanted to tell that culture clash from that perspective. And so the monster is based on the Nanganga talk. Forgive me for my pronunciation. I know it's atrocious, but it's a door-knocking entity that brings bad luck if you open the door to its knocks and its calls, bad luck or sickness or death. It's a kind of vaguely portrayed monster. It's usually just like a smoky essence. So we incorporated that, but we wanted to like physicalize it as a monster that's more ancient and elemental and came from the ground and looks like a body that had like been there for eras and eras. Wanted to give that ancestral quality. We thought of it more as something that had been there and had been haunting the locals as well, rather than something to blame the locals for. It's just like this elemental presence that comes around sometimes if certain taboos are broken or certain land has been trespassed on, which the volunteers, of course, are ignorant to and aggravate immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Did you want to add anything?
No, that was perfect.
Yes, Louise, I want to thank you because I've felt that so many times too in my travels. People, specifically Americans, going somewhere and using our American filter to compare and contrast, which is not what traveling is about. So thank you for speaking to that because it's a real problem. But I want to talk to get our producer here in the conversation. How did you become part of this project and talking about the Filipino culture of it all?
Yeah, I mean, well, our other producer, Joyce, Lou Countryman, who's not here with us today, like, they're both, like, she went to AFI with Jill. And so, when Jill tapped Joyce, and she's Chinese American, Taiwanese American. So Joyce was like, I want to do this, but I need another Filipino producer to be on this, And so she was like, we worked together on a Family Guide. We were here with you guys. That was cool. And yeah, so that's how I got on. And what was the other question?
Just people being introduced to specific parts of Filipino culture from this short film in terms of like our folklore and our superstitions.
Well, yeah, I mean, even like the mangangatok, which is like that like horror, that creature. I'm from the Philippines. I grew up there. I'm not even that familiar with that creature. Like what we're used to is like the mananangals and like the chanaks.
Aswang.
Oh, there's so many different ones.
Yeah, there's so many
Not to
different
mention
ones.
just ghosts in general.
So many ghosts. There's like
Exactly.
thousands of different monsters. Like
Yes.
our small town that we shot in had like hundreds of different monsters that the neighboring small town like had slightly different definitions for, or totally different monsters too. And that's all so different from even Manila. This was the north and like Kalinga. So we're just like so haunted and have so many amazing monsters and like so much folklore to pull from.
Yeah, and for me, like I'm like a city girl, grew up in Manila. I went to Kalinga on an immersion, but I would never go to Kalinga to shoot there if not for Taga. Like, and so for us, when Jill made this decision, we're like, yes, it's beautiful, but also like when you go back to like the producing of the film, it was like a little insane. It was like a real trek in itself, and that we didn't want to like disrespect their land as well.
I was thinking about it, and I think because, especially in rural villages in what you would call third world countries or whatever, because they live so in one with nature, that's where like the hunting and the noises and everything becomes so real and so visceral, because they're one with nature way more than we are. We are so separate from it, especially as big city kids. And I think that's where a lot of the folklore comes from too, because they hear every sound, every leaf, everything, and it becomes another ghost, another on top of the real ones.
Yeah, for sure. That's like one thing I really identify with, like the mountaineer people. I grew up in the mountains in a very, very small town. And even though culturally we're super, super different, my mom's from Cebu, not from the north, but I feel like there's some sort of like spirituality or unsaid thing that I felt in common with like all of my new friends up in Kalinga. Just in touchness with nature, and just we had similar views of like the mist rising up and covering the entire valley, so it felt like you're just like living in this cloud land. I feel like there's something unspoken there spiritually with the locals, but yeah.
I mean, even talking about spiritually, like, like we had to respect the land, and we had like a whole offering that we did before production started. We did the pinikpikan.
Well, it wasn't. We were planning for a pinakpikan, which would be a chicken offering, and this was based on our fixer and associate producer Ruel getting in touch with the local barangay. They wanted to welcome us. They wanted to help us make sure we weren't trespassing and doing the same thing that our volunteers in the movie were doing.
Yeah.
So they.
Oh, you mean saving the world?
Yeah, saving the world, making our movies.
Yeah. Very meta.
Yeah, it was very meta, and we're like, that was my worst fear, that we
Yes.
would become those people.
Yeah.
It was also, we had the whole ceremony. We had all of our Western actors as well participate. It was basically to ask permission from all the spirits and the ancestors and just the forest to forgive our
To
presence.
bless us also.
Yeah,
Right?
to bless us
like a
and bless the
blessing.
town and the film production.
I mean, I guess it worked because we're here.
Yeah.
I think
You
it
made
worked.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I mean, everybody participates in eating it was a pig. It was not a chicken, but
Lechon.
yeah, it fed the entire town.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
They had to sacrifice it in front of us. So, it was rough.
It's intense. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
intense.
It was a bit intense.
In the Philippines, yeah, my family did that. Well, like we came to visit and they were like, pick one. And we were like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that skin, man, that crispy skin.
Oh, the ears.
It was not lechon. If it were lechon,
Oh,
it would
okay.
be, it was like, you know,
Oh,
like
but
a
still, it's
stew.
delicious.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fresh.
I taught her
Yeah.
about fighting for the crispy skin lechon.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
you get in there, you grab all the skin. From
She's
me.
like, get in there.
love
Like,
it.
oh,
like, the
God.
skin's gonna be gone in 5 minutes.
I love it. The crispy ears are so good. It's like
So
chips.
bomb.
Sisig.
Okay.
Before we wrap, I do want to ask about location. So, can you talk to our audience and to us about picking, what was the name of the place? I'm so sorry.
The small town's called Mabalong.
Mabalon. Can you talk about picking that spot? It's gorgeous.
It was kind of random, but there was a photography book that I'd been checking out for a long time. And there was a small town in it, and it's called Mabalong. And when I saw the picture, I was like, that is the exact perfect inspiration for this place. So that was on my inspiration board and my references for a really long time. And then I read an article by that writer who mentioned how much he appreciated and loved his fixer, Ruel Bimuag. And I found Ruel on Facebook and reached out, and he's like, "Oh, of course, come up, come visit. Maybe you should shoot up here. We'll show you all around." So when we won the grant from Cape, it was about October when the funds hit, and it was we considered that our green light because we still had to fundraise further, but that was like the universe being like, "Go."
The start, yeah.
Yeah. So when that hit in October, I booked a ticket, scouted with Ruel just alone. My first time traveling like absolutely alone in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we became very good friends, and he showed us all around. He's kind of like a culture bearer, and his wife is too. She's a famous like artist, and she's propelling the art of weaving, and sort of like redefining it and taking it in new places. And they're just an amazing couple. But so he knew everybody in the town, was related to half of them, took me alone, and we met a whole bunch of people. We spoke to the elders, found all of our locations. And then a few locations did fall through, and we ended up shooting on Ruel's property itself. So he was so instrumental in absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the mayor of that town without being the mayor.
I know.
Right? Yeah, we needed him, and that was great.
Yeah, it was incredible. But he was definitely like our gateway in. I would never just like show up into a small town, walk up to a village and be like, "Hi, can we bring a movie set here?"
Yeah, having a local fixer that you can trust is half the battle.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And the crews there are so big because every single piece of gear has its own person to handle it. So here versus here, it's like the way of production is so different.
Yeah, because there's no production insurance, so the camera and everybody, they have people to manage it. They like no one else can really touch it, but they have to watch it 24/7. Yeah,
And you're out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies.
yeah.
Ooh, congratulations.
It was raining every day. People were like slipping down the hill holding the Alexa.
Our crew were getting sick.
Yeah.
And we had like fire effects. We had like the monster makeup effects.
Yeah.
We had a small child. We had an elder lady.
Oh,
she's
is
so
cute.
Chloe.
Oh.
And
The
we have
open
two
is- the
Sundance
open is
like
so great.
veterans.
Oh, thank you.
Or two Sundance, like we had Amin and Bong who were here before, right?
Yeah.
They had like Sundance films too, so that's like a little nod to Sundance in a way.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming. We end our segments with something called This Bitch. We ask our guests to name your This Bitch, whether it's someone who has brought you joy, someone you're angry with. You can throw shade, you can throw shine, whatever it is. What is your This Bitch of the moment?
So it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yep, whatever you want.
Shine or
Okay.
shade, whatever
Yeah.
you want.
My this bitch is all of these layers that I have to wear. I am here. I feel like a suman. If no one knows what that is, it's like a Filipino like sticky rice
And now I'm
wrap.
starving. Thank you.
And now
Louise.
I'm like, everything's tight. And then I have to put so many layers, but I think it'll be fine because I'm always freezing out here. This bitch.
Yes. This bitch is the layers. I get it.
Yeah.
My This Bitch is a shout out to Irene Soriano, who is a programmer here at Sundance. And she has just been shepherding Filipino film like into American consciousness over the last 5 years or so, and it's amazing. She's literally like starting a whole new movement and bringing together community. And we don't really often see ourselves depicted in Western media, and we're starting to a little bit more. And hopefully, she's wanting to start this whole new era in which it's like common for Filipino to be like a common film and filmmakers and cultural thing in America.
Hell yeah. We love Irene Toyano.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
and we are meant for the big screen. I'm just saying. Have you heard us sing?
Yes,
Have you heard us
and
sing?
dance, and we're just a lot in a good way.
Thank you. That was
Thank
perfect.
you.
That was perfect. Again, we've been speaking with director Jill Sachs and producer Luis Barreto of the short film Taga. Congratulations.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
That was awesome.
All right, bitch talkers. In this segment, we're going to talk about the short film Prime, and we're sitting down with the director Megan Coyle. Thank you so much for being on Bitch Talk.
Thank you for having me.
So please introduce your film to our audience.
Without giving too much away, it is about a young environmentalist who travels to a utopian farming community only to find out she's bitten off more than she can chew.
Ooh.
Nice. You practiced that. That
Yes,
was
I did.
perfect.
That's a good one.
In the mirror before I got here.
Oh, good. I want to kind of deep dive into, because I think we all kind of do it in some ways or another, but like gravitating to groups to find community that maybe we don't know too much about, but the message seems like it's on par with our feelings and our thoughts, and that we need comfort. So can you talk about that part of this story for your main actress?
Well, I think it's you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's sort of a natural instinct to want to belong to a group. And I think sometimes in that desire to want to belong, you can maybe agree to things that you wouldn't normally if you were kind of sitting by yourself and you really thought about it. But it's much easier to say yes than it is to say no. And I think that helps kind of form communities, and sometimes that can be positive and sometimes that can be not so positive.
Mm-hmm. Is this something that is a little bit personal for you in this story, or just in the world kind of?
I mean, how the whole thing started was I was on a set. I was a makeup artist. Silly, I'm a makeup artist for a bunch of
We need help,
years.
by the way.
No, you don't. Amazing. But I was on a set where there were just more vegetarians than there were meat eaters. And someone kind of passed me a meal and was like, "Is this your meat meal?" And they didn't even say it like that, but in my mind, it was
in your
that.
head, it was like,
yeah. And I was like, "Yeah," but I got super defensive like right away. And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't eat meat all the time." And like, da-da-da, I tried to be a vegetarian. And I realized like I felt sort of like I had to defend myself in a weird way, and I guess maybe I wanted to belong with them, like they would think of me negatively or something for eating that, when really like they didn't give a shit, you know. Like it was my own stuff. So maybe there's a little bit of that in there, but I feel like also when you're talking about cults and stuff like that, like they don't want crazy people joining cults. Like it's usually people who are pretty like quote unquote normal, intelligent people, because those are the people that are going to get more people to join. So I wanted to kind of touch on it's kind of easy to join a cult, whether it's, you know, a fitness cult or a health food cult or whatever the thing is, a movie cult. You know, we're at Sundance. There's lots of movie nerds around.
Tech
so,
cult.
Yeah,
Cults,
yeah. Horror movie cults. I mean, that's kind of a cult. There's like such a vibrant community there, and like they'll watch anything. Like they're just game for it, you know. So maybe there's kind of all of those threads kind of coming together.
So when I read the premise for your short film, I was hoping to get some tips, because Aaron and I are planning on starting our own commune. Well, we don't have kids, so it's like and we're not going to have Social Security, clearly.
Right. I mean,
So
that's not a thing.
we
so
either have to start a commune or a church, and I feel like a commune might be easier.
we'll see. We'll see.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch and I'm going to get some tips. I did not get any tips. So you
Zero
owe me that
tips.
time back, Megan. But
Sorry about that.
well, there's some tips in there.
no, there are some. Yes, there's some learning.
Pollinating.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
But I did want to talk about the twists and the turns, and sort of the slow questioning, just directing a short film with that slow burn. But it's a short film too, so it has to happen
quickly.
Quickly.
Yeah.
So having both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a challenge because, especially with a short film, like the script was 22, 23 pages. And in my mind, I'm like, if we could get this to 15 minutes, like as long as it's under 20, it's got to be under 20. So even on the day, cutting a lot of stuff out. And my editor, who rules, Mike, you rule, we tried so many different things, but at the end of the day, it still needed to breathe. So we kind of cut out a lot of stuff to be able to have these sort of breathing moments. While still keeping people engaged and like trying not to be boring. But we also cut a lot of stuff that was like pretty but boring, because that's sort of my worst thing. If a movie is pretty but boring, I don't want to name names. Maybe after we're recording.
Off the record.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Well, your film was also pretty. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was
my
beautiful.
DP is a beast.
Yes,
Josh.
I didn't want you to think that it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, we had so much other pretty stuff too. But when you
Okay.
kind of have a lot of stuff, it's like show the sexiest footage in a short and kind of get people's attention, but still have those moments of quiet. And, you know, I was like, we can be quiet as long as the montage is like popping. So, because I think that does a lot of legwork and sort of showing her kind of getting in the groove of this place. And it was also sort of, the idea was like a frog in a pot of boiling water. Like, it's like, ooh, this is toasty, until like, you know, your flesh burns off and you're like, oh no.
Until you're dead.
Yeah, until you're dead. Yeah, that's the rub.
Yeah. Can you talk about casting and also location?
Yes,
in this
that
film?
tree.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Well, there's a lot there. So I've been a makeup artist for a while. I kind of talked about that. And I actually met Anita like 10 years ago. It was like one of my first makeup jobs. And I wrote the role for her. So in my mind, she was always Rhea. Because I knew she would like kill it and add such like a strange, cool like vibe. And everyone else, I mean, we had so many people audition, and coming from so far below the line as a makeup artist, and, you know, there were like 60 auditions for Claire, and I was a little overwhelmed, honestly, because I was like so touched that I'm like, you read what I wrote and then you memorized it and recorded yourself and sent it to me. So I kind of told myself I need to honor that work that they did, and I limited myself of like looking at them like four or five a day, and like making sure that I went back to them. And then it was really tight for who plays Claire, but it always just came back to, I always just believed Katie. And, you know, she's amazing. And she flew over from England just to do this, which is crazy. And the locations were like all in Pine Plains and Millerton, upstate New York. Because also with a short film, like we don't have the money for production design. So like, let's film a lot of stuff outside and really milk that, so to speak, for all it's worth. So we were really lucky to get really great locations for like no money. Just being like, please and thank you. You know.
Love that.
Well, that tree stands out on my mind. It's such a beautiful shot. So well done.
Well, the secret of that tree, maybe I shouldn't say this, but there is some VFX on the tree.
Oh, okay.
And wait, do you mean the tree outside or yeah. And I had written it around that tree, and the week before there was a storm.
Oh,
and
yep.
I just was like, I was watching the wind and all of the leaves just like, I was standing in the living room just like.
That was the horror.
The crew hadn't arrived yet, and I was just literally standing with a cup of coffee, and I would just see the leaves go by. And so we had like before pictures and stuff like that.
Oh.
And it was like, well, we're still going to film it there. And it's like, if you look at it before, we put a little love on it. And like, especially as a makeup artist, I'm like, I don't like CGI, but I was like, can we make that tree look less sad? You know, like,
It makes sense, though. It's supposed to be magical. You know,
Yeah.
this magical world. So.
Yeah, and I think having kind of almost a supernatural quality to Rhea, it ended up working
Yes.
really
Yes.
well. And it looks really
Yes.
cool.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, clearly you're very good at this. Do you plan on continuing to direct?
Oh my gosh, of course.
Cool.
Now that I've tasted that power, because coming from below the line again, like a makeup artist is usually behind the monitor all the time, and you're just kind of watching silently. And I guess I was like silently judging and being like, I would do this differently. And, you
Or I
know.
can do this.
Yeah, yeah. And I had one movie where I was just like, was taking a long time to like set up lights and stuff. And I was like, you guys want to see my impression if I'm a director? And then I just stood in front of the monitor like this. And I was like, make it cuter. And like, I actually did do that a few times like for this. And I was like joking, but seriously. Like,
Did you have a ball cap on plus glasses here and then glasses here?
you know,
or?
and I have my glasses on a croquis, and I also
Yep.
had my sunglasses on a croquis, so I
Great.
was like double,
Yes,
like,
yes.
and like a hat. I
Yep.
was a mess,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
You're a director.
yeah. I really I was like, maybe this is my final form, but I was definitely very cozy throughout, like dressing kind of how I dress now, just in sweatpants and sweatshirts.
Were you doing makeup as well?
You know, I passed the reins to a great friend of mine, Trang. I love you. She arrived last night. I'm so excited to see her today. We have we're rolling deep for Sundance,
Nice.
which is
As
nice.
you should.
Yeah.
If you can, you should.
Yeah. And she did a great job, but I have to say, like, there were times where I was just
Yep.
I was like, well, we could call last looks or just like, let me in there. And I was like, fix a piece of hair, which I think actually saved us so much time. Like for a few days we were below, we ended early. And I was like, you know, there were a lot of moments. And then I'm like, maybe, did we miss something? Should we be doing something else? But, and I was like, Trang, is this okay? Like, I don't want to step on your toes, you know? And then I did some of the special effects makeup, but it's pretty minimal. I don't know if I would do it again. It was actually very stressful.
I'm sure it's hard to let go of, though. That's your core.
Yeah, but, you know, I trust Trang, and she's so talented. And it's funny because a lot of people were like, you're going to make a movie? Like, I bet the makeup's going to be crazy. And I was like, like, not really. Like,
Right.
you know, I usually say I'm a bad makeup artist because I don't like a lot of makeup. So, you know, I'm kind of like less is more. So especially with this kind of a group of people, because they wouldn't really do that unless
Right.
it's
No,
like, you know.
yeah.
Our commune won't be makeup heavy.
No, less is more.
Yeah.
To your point. Okay, we are going to end on our last segment that we do with all of our guests. It's called This Bitch.
Okay.
So you can either shine a light on this bitch or you can throw shade at this bitch, and it can be anything. So you can take a minute, really ponder in this moment what this bitch is for you.
You know, my instinct is to go to the darkness.
That's what everyone's been saying.
Everybody's
Yeah,
saying
it's fine. Yeah, it's
But there
fine.
is no wrong answer.
But
also,
I'm going towards the light, and I wanna is it like a shout out thing? Like shout out
Whatever
to this
you want.
bitch?
Yeah.
Shout out to Anita Durst, because working with her makeup, she was the one that was like, why don't you do something of your own, you know? And so I've been working with her for so long on these kind of like little shorts and like having fun. She's a great actress in her own right. And she brought me oatmeal this morning and was just like, she said to me, I'm going to take care of you like you've taken care of me, when like, she's like, I'm going to be your makeup artist. And I was just like, well, I'll do my own makeup, but thank you for the oatmeal. And she's just been so lovely and supportive, and I can't wait to work with her again. So shout out to this bitch, Anita.
That's fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Again, we've been speaking with director and writer Megan Coyle of the short film Prime. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
This episode was supported by Dave Moutre, who runs Bay Area Film Mixer.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. You can find more information about this episode in our show notes.
If you're missing us, you can visit us at bitchtalkpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter and buy us a cup of coffee.
Did you know we're also on the radio? You can find us at bff.fm.
And lastly, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All the cool bitches are doing it.